Hey, Sam Sim once again coming back with the remix for I Love Black Women, Chapter 1. This one won't be as long as it was before. I continue to rant and express thoughts and get into details about different things. But yes, man. As I stated before in the previous segment, black women are incredible. Black women are incredible to me. What I love the most about black women is just the ones who are feminine, just all the way around, like the understanding and they're cooperative when it comes down to ambitions and goals. But there's the ones on the flip side that have that negative aspect with them, that negative aura that always follows them. Like, man, motherfucker, you ain't gonna be shit. No, that ain't gonna work. Like you got black women out here, you have them out here who are like that. And I don't understand why some of these YouTube women don't see that these type of women exist. They're also the type of black women that, no matter what type of black guy you are, they will not fuck with you unless you have immediate resources. And you can attribute that to a lot of the vixens, the video vixens that you see. Some of your women on Instagram posting half naked in front of the mirror in the bathroom. The longer the weave, the more money hungry she's going to be, the more narcissistic she's going to be. I mean, that's just an assumption of mine, but this video is not for a lot of the women who fall into those categories. I know they're not watching right now. I even with them, I know that right now rooting for Nicki Minaj and their the beef between Nicki Minaj and Remy Ma. They're probably into that or looking through some fashion segment on YouTube. But they're probably worrying about what club they're going to tonight. I just wanted to throw that in there. Um, so I'm separating them. The black women that I love, like I told you guys. So I had two dates today. I had the one lunch with this one girl who I just met earlier this week, and um, she's a what they would consider a red bone. She has hazel eyes. She has a nice body. Like she's slim, but she got like these thick hips. She got that heart shaped butt. And she's very, very smart. She talks very articulate. And, we met up this afternoon for lunch real quick. Very, very, very cute girl. She has her braces in and um, she seems very optimistic about life. And she doesn't have the negativity that surrounds her, at least from what I know. She didn't bring any negativity with her today as we sat down in PF Chang's and kicked it real quick. So, that's that. And then later on tonight, I'm supposed to be meeting up with another sister who almost looks like the picture on this cover that I have. Nice African American sister with the afro. And I like that. Like it's very, very original in comparison to what we have now. It's not anything new under the sun, but it's natural. And no, she doesn't stink. No, she doesn't smell like incense or African Egyptian oils and things like that. No, she's not Hotep. She doesn't believe in, um, you know, the black woman is the god mother of the earth, and Horus and Sphinx, and she's not into that. She understands the power of economics. She understands it. So I'm just looking at my clock here. I'm just trying to get an understanding of when this video needs to stop. But the ones that I just don't like are the ratchet ones. Now there's some ones out here who are cover-ups. Like they'll wear the weave, and they may appear to be nice women, and on the cover-up, they appear to be very, very feminine. But when you get to know them, they're ratchet. Like they just want to fuck and leave, or they're just with you just to get a quick meal, get a quick movie, get a couple few drinks, and then they're gone. These women need to be ostracized. They need to be like my homeboy said in another video. They need to be purged. What he referred to black men as the rogue black men. The thugs need to be purged. But there are some black women that do need to be purged, and a lot of black men need to leave these guys alone. But you know what? Black men do. They do. The ones that don't leave them alone are the same ones who you see out here in their 30s and 40s with these chunky white women, with these overweight white women, and their resources have been absorbed. So now, black women, even the heavyset black women, don't want to deal with them anymore. So who do they resort to? They resort to the heavyset white women. The white women who have about maybe 2 or 3 white kids, and they might have a third baby who's mixed. And even with them, like they're living, in a white community, but the inside of their house appears as though they're impoverished. They're impoverished. They're poor. They're making it check to check, and you got this guy, this fucking loser ass Negro who's living with them until she gets fed up and kicks him out, and then who he goes to? He goes to another heavyset white woman. But these are the guys who you catch in their early 20s and then their teens and even throughout their 20s. These are the ones who are smashing a lot of these black women and leaving these black women with kids. It's not the educated black guys, what I'm trying to tell you. I know some Asians and, on the poor end who fucked around and messed around with black guys and have mixed kids, and they're living in impoverished areas as well. And then there are some Asian families who come from a strong community where there's a mother and father who lives in the house, and the black guy who they are dealing with is very, very business orientated. I can name a family right now if you go look through my video. I'm trying to think which one it is, but I talk about a friend of mine who married a Asian girl back in like the early 90s, and he has a daughter now who is on her way to college. They own 3 successful businesses. So, it's possible. So, the outcome will be different. And even with this little girl that I'm talking about, the type of boyfriends that she chooses. She doesn't choose thugs. She doesn't choose. And she's very, very beautiful for a mixed girl. She is a very attractive girl. And she doesn't choose thugs. If her father wasn't there, it'll be easier for a lot of thugs to approach her and get at her and get her pregnant and leave, and then it'll be her and her mom taking care of a kid. But that's not the case. But when the father is not around, which I understand why the father is not around, I can even go back to the 80s and express the reasons why a lot of these men have ran away and left Generation X to kill each other. There's a reason for that, and it falls on fault on both sides, black men and black women. But the black woman had to take the blunt end of the shit because she had to raise the kid, which I think that's fucked up. And a lot of black men can agree with that. Black males who are thugs and black males who are educated, they both can agree that black fathers of Generation X children, and even the Millennium children, they have a lot of fucking cleaning up to do. Big time. Big time. But, do I blame that shit on black women? Hell no, man. Hell no. Black women have a lot of shit on their plate, but am I simping for them? Fuck no. Fuck no, man, because knowing that, just say my mother's generation, do you know how your fucking daughters were in high school? Do you know how your daughters are when they leave the club or even inside of the club? No. So, it's the same thing with like Generation X's children. I'm looking at these kids now, and I've watched how a lot of kids, and I'm still continuing to watch how a lot of parents of Generation X are raising their children. And also these millennium babies on how they're raising their kids. Single moms still want to go out and have fun and go to the club with their friends. The fathers feel as though they don't have any kids at all. They still want to hang out with their homies. and a lot of them, they have no idea on how to go out and compete against other races of men, let alone fill out a job application to give them a head start. They accept any job that comes their way, and then they don't stay at the job too long. I know this one guy, he was working at what's this hamburger place called Five Guys Burgers and Fries. He worked there for a week, then he quit that job and went to another job for a week. And I mean, these are all fast food restaurants, and I'm like, well, damn, man. You're working all of these fast food restaurants. Wouldn't it be wise just to just stick with one? You know, because it's not like you're getting an increase in any any job higher than the other. Sorry about the stuttering, man. Okay, so it's finally up there. Good. Yeah, these people are tripping on both sides. Educated lames, they're not the ones that's causing the fucking problem. Even a halfway decent black man, a guy who might not even be educated, but just a guy who avoided from getting in trouble, got him a halfway decent paying job. It could be just an average blue collar call center worker. He doesn't bother anybody, keeps to himself, works hard, and he's bombarded by angry women who he didn't even father their children for these women, but they're at the job, they're just angry and bitter. One guy mentioned that there was some kind of movement, some type of movement that happened a few years ago where black women were trying to get black men fired and not hired from some of these jobs, which are owned by white people, and black men need to worry about focusing on their own jobs and shit. But if that's the case, if that shit really happened, that is seriously fucked up, and with that being said, that would cause me personally, that would cause me to isolate myself from a lot of black women, knowing that there was a group of black women that would just outright do some shit like that, because now you're not fucking around with the thugs or even the type of baby fathers that you guys have. I mean, when you do these types of movements, what is it based behind? And something like that, it just makes me think that it's based behind successful black men not picking you, not choosing you. Because, I mean, for me to work at a corporate environment, for corporate America, period, at a firm, and see a lot of bitter, angry black women who try to approach me just on a social aspect, and realize that they can only get so far, and then when they realize that they can't get, and especially the fat ones, when they realize that they can't get me, in a sexual relationship, that's when the attitude comes along. That's when, the rumors and all this other shit comes along inside of the building. That's when all of the vindictive shit comes along. So I've never looked at YouTube years ago to confirm or even learn about the movement. The movement never hit my grid, but I noticed a lot of black women how they are to black men with a high level of consciousness in the work environment. I noticed that shit. I see it. That's why I encourage a lot of black men to just keep to yourself and focus on your money. Leave them alone. On the initial, leave them alone. If they have any interest in you, they'll approach you, and then you set the order that, hey, if we're going to fuck around, then I have to learn how you are, because I can't have my business fucking up, my personal life. I can't have anything personal, me dealing with females, having anything to do with my bread being affected. So that's why I leave a lot of these work women alone. But in comparison to what you see on the street, a lot of females at the work environment would definitely be the most qualified and the most attractive. For some of them, a lot of these women are single parents, and they're in there getting a job, working a 9 to 5, trying to get by to support their kids, who have fathers who are either incarcerated or just deadbeats. But the black men who are working in there, for the most part, a lot of the black men who work in these type of environments are providing for their kids. They're at least paying child support. So these are not the deadbeats, the guys who actually have the job. So for a black woman to set up a movement to basically knock these productive black men off, these black men who actually have these jobs for corporate America, and you try to knock them off, wow. Wow. These women need to be in a category all on their own. And it just sounds like they've been in a state of depression. You know? So, I mean, if I was to down black women, I would specifically target those women and bring them down to their knees. Because that's just outright disrespectful. You know, I mean, black men can do some very, very vindictive things. I can agree. But, you know, black men, when they do these things, a lot of black women can cipher out the intentions at the end of the day. Now, it's up to them if they're going to accept it or not. Like I mentioned in my previous video, how my mom was even abused through years of her life. And then it took for her one time to decide, I'm not going to deal with this shit anymore. I have my mom to come on here one day and we'll have a sit down and talk. But I know what the ratchetness is all about. I mentioned that I have sisters that are ratchet. And, you know, by me growing up under traditional values, especially coming up under my grandmother, yeah, I tend to favor women who are more feminine. And the majority of the women who are more feminine are the ones who grew up under two-parent households. You know, and a lot of the women who are speaking on YouTube denouncing black men, most of these women have been abused. They've been like severely abused. I know women personally who talk poorly of their fathers. I know some women, while me knowing them, their fathers tried to kill them, tried to run them over off side of the street, very, very abusive to these women. And these women are in their 20s, in their early 20s and mid-20s. They're still having issues with their father. But what type of men do they choose? They choose the thugs. They choose the thugs to be the procreators, you know, of their unit. You know, these are the ones that they're pumping babies out for. And then, you know, I hear them, oh, yeah, I'm going to go to school for nursing and, you know, I'm going to get me a cosmetology license and, you know, then I might have another kid by my baby daddy, but he won't be raising them. I just want to have another kid just so I can, you know, have one more because after that I won't be able to have any kids anymore. Like, this is the type of shit that I hear from a lot of these females. And this is not like any research. This is directly phone calls directly to me from black women that I speak to normally. And I like some of them I can't even reach anymore. It's like, okay, well, just be careful, whatever the fuck you do. You know, I'll talk to you later, bye. I can't reach them. And then they really think that when they reach, like this one girl, she's 26, she really thinks that by the time she hits 30, between 30 and 32, she'll be able to settle down with a square, but the world is changing. My mom was able to do that, but this world is changing. A lot of guys, especially now with black media and just black society, period. You watch Atlanta Housewives. You talk to people in Atlanta. These black women, you know, they have these nasty, rude attitudes. Like, if you can't do nothing for me, then fuck you, you know? A lot of hardworking black men are tired of that. So they have nothing else to do but to focus on the paper. You know, luckily there's a Republican in office that's going to help them move along the way, but that's all they have to do is focus on the paper. Like it's easy for a woman to just go out anywhere and say, here's some pussy, and then all the men are going to flock to it. Like, oh shit. But a guy is not going to be able to walk out in the middle of the street and run to in a group of women and say, here's some dick, you know. Anybody want some? No, you might have a couple fat bitches maybe come, maybe a couple of unattractive females who don't get dick all the time. They might come through. But even with them, like, it's a rare chance that you have anybody approach this guy and, you know, just go ahead and knock it out right there in the middle of the street. I said this before, there'll be a longer line for guys in line trying to get pussy than women trying to get dick in line. So what does that tell you? That tells you that women do control men in a certain aspect. So that shows you right there that they have the control. They have the control and the power to choose who they're having children by, unless they're being raped. Because the good black men aren't going inside the hood, inside of the broken community and having babies and leaving and going back out to the suburbs or wherever the fuck they are at. They're not doing that. Seriously. And I mean, it shows. But do I hate black women? No. No. Just hate the decisions that are being made, man. That's it. I mean, I know that it's a cultural thing, and I know it has a lot to do about economics because, I mean, you look at white folks who grew up around black people, they tend to have the same issues. I know one white guy, I mean, this shit was rare to me. White guy, I mean, all of his friends are black guys, and, he has a couple tattoos on him, and all he fucks around with is Hispanic and black women. Matter of fact, his baby mama is a black woman who I've never seen with weave one day in my life. She has her hair tied up in them crazy ass ponytails, but she doesn't have weave, and they have a mixed baby girl. Mother's black, dark skinned black on top of that, and has a white daddy. Looks like Eminem with maybe a little bigger nose. He has blonde hair and shit, but he grew up in the hood. His mom was a single mom, has a younger sister. So it has a lot to do with the economy. And I don't know another family, Cambodian family, their mother passed away. And before the mother passed away, they have, 4 kids. All grew up under a single parent household in the hood. All the friends that they have are black friends. One white other friend who also grew up under a single parent household. So it has a lot to do with the economy. So I'm not going to take and fault black women, but I swear, man, any black woman hit me up talking about all black men are dogs and all of that crazy shit, man, we can go to war. We can sit down and have a nice conversation, but there's no way that you're going to convince black men to conform to some of these rules that I've been hearing in regards to feminism. Black men have their own issues. Seriously, they have their own issues to deal with. They've already been beat up and attacked, and this is not the thugs. Like, the thugs aren't being attacked. The thugs are still getting the pussy out here. So the black women who are complaining, it just makes me believe that they're just not getting picked. Either that or they've been abused. But I love black women. This is not a diss to black women. Because I know a lot of the black women who understand the power of money and the power of group economics, just the language of power, period. Those black women would agree with a lot of the things that I'm saying right now. Seriously, they would definitely agree with this, that it's going to take men to do their job, but at the same time, it's going to take a cooperative system from black women as well. So, yeah, man. I didn't say anything about weave this one. I ain't see shit about weave either. Nothing at all, man. We're going to keep it real short. I just want to make sure I have a part 2 because there's a few things on part 1 that I did not mention. And I actually got a fax that came in. Guy told me that he was going to send me a fax because he didn't feel like, I guess he doesn't have any videos on his channel. But he basically wanted to tell me why. Well, okay, yeah, he wanted to tell me why he doesn't mess around with with black women anymore, why he exclusively dates other races of women. And he said he could send it by fax. He wrote a letter, actually, and faxed it over to me. I don't know why he didn't just email it, but I got it right here. Before I go, I heard someone else say something about the divorce rate and about how black men have multiple kids by other women, and then they'll find a new woman and have kids by her. That's fucked up, and I see it all the time. I see it as well. I don't think it's fair. A lot of guys would say that it's okay as long as they're able to support each woman that they have the kids by, but no, these guys aren't doing that. A lot of these guys are being selfish. They see the potential in this black woman, or they see the beauty in her, and they don't want her to get anyone with potential, anyone better than them. So they impregnate these women, and then they move on and they find another one. And, they're competing for pussy and trapping these women, and they're having kids thinking that, well, yeah, I've done my job because I was able to procreate, and um, it has something to do with the media promoting them in a way where being the bad boy looks cool, and being the thug looks cool and all of that good shit. And meanwhile, the more educated guys are looked at as being lame and um, not cool, not having enough swag. So it's like the educated brothers, they are forced to start dating other races of women at the end of the day, because they're looking at it as well, like, well, I would like to date me a woman my age, but all the black women my age, or at least the vast majority of the women that I run into, they're ratchet, they have too much baggage, they're overly obese, and there's just so many problems when it comes down to black women, as a majority, not all black women, but the black women, like I said, the black women that I tend to like, they all, or for the most part, uh, they fix themselves up for white men. So when a black man goes out and all he sees is the ratchetness, he has nothing to do. And this is just my personal story. Like, you have nothing to do but focus on success. Just focus on getting your things together, getting your shit together, so that you could possibly get to another level, where there's another group of people, another caliber. And when you get to the higher caliber, you tend to realize that there's less and less black women. So it's not like a lot of these guys are just automatically deciding, oh, I'm going to date white women exclusively. A lot of these guys, when especially when you getting out of college, the pickings get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller when it comes to good black women. And I mean, sex sales, and you got to think about all of that that's added into it. So black women, they fix themselves up to appease the ones who have the money, which are the drug dealers and the D-boys. And the reason why is because they are promoted better, and black men are educated black men. Those doctors, those accountants, those lawyers, they're not promoted in in a good way or a bad way. They're not promoted at all. Because if they were promoted, then you would see a lot of kids aspiring to be doctors and lawyers and engineers. I mean, this is just all real talk, man. It's just for black women and white women. Well, not I said white women, black women and black men. But yeah, you get to another caliber, that's what you see. You see white women, you see Asian women, and Arab women, and Indian women, and the black women that you see in those calibers, they have a white man on their arms. And I don't know if that's just all the way around the board, but I've seen it in several places, several cities that I've traveled to. And even in the Philippines, it's the same way. Like, a lot of the Filipinos out there, they tend to adapt more to the white society. So when they like black guys too, but for the most part, a lot of those girls out there, they tend to look at just the regular average Joe black guys. Even though, like, they know about the thug culture and they know about the music that's being played here, they play it out there as well. But they know how to separate the two. And I think that black folks, the black community, is the only group of people. I mean, we create the music and we live by it as well. We live and die by it, because these guys are on TV in front of these rented cars with these rented video vixens, and they're talking about how much money they have, and they're showing off their stuff. And a lot of these young guys, they go out there trying to become what these rappers are, or try to have what these rappers have. And the women, they tend to dress like the females that they see on the videos, so that they can attract these guys. So the educated brothers, the brothers who, are going to Howard University, who are going to Fisk and going to Morehouse or even going to Harvard. A real educated brother, or just a hard working, blue collared average brother. He's not looked at. He's not looked at all. So it's hard for him to really get dates. And then when he does get dates, he has to deal with women who are using him, for a free meal and shit like that. So, they get tired of it. They want a woman who, is more appreciative of things, and that's who they tend to mess with. And it's unfortunate that a lot of these black women that I'm talking about, they don't understand and realize this shit until they get in their late 20s and early 30s. And by that time, it's too fucking late. A lot of black men just ain't looking for them like that. And it's sad, but it's true. I mean, the thugs are still around. But sometimes even with the thugs, they'll fuck around with these women. And I think that's what happened with Faith Jones. Like, a lot of these black women, they'll get abused by these guys, and these guys will pump a couple babies out of them, mess up these women good years, and then what they'll do, they'll fuck around and go and find them a quiet, meek, more feminine female later on in the future, and have this other female who they've had these kids by, she's sitting there bitter, she's sitting there hurting, and she has every right to feel hurt, because you're supposed to formulate some type of structure for her and those kids, or at least work something out for those kids. And now you're off with a new family and shit. A more happier family, of course that would make her feel some type of way. Especially when a lot of these guys, they fuck around and leave the dark-skinned woman alone for the light skin or the white chick. Of course that would make any black woman upset. You know what I'm saying? I understand this shit completely. Completely. That's why, I care for y'all. Just don't get caught up. And that's why I'm trying to get the next generation of black women to understand this shit. Just don't get caught up. I know one girl, she's 18 years old now. Granted, she likes to keep up with fashion. And, she likes to buy nice things. And she finally got an apartment on her own. Right? And, she just turned 19. No. I've been knowing her since she's 20 years old now. I'm tripping. I've been knowing her for that long, but she's 20 years old now. She has her own apartment. She doesn't drink. She doesn't smoke. She has a small amount of friends. Most of her friends are like heavyset black girls, black nerds. Okay, who we got? All right, we'll call you up later, man. Yeah, buddy. So yeah, she finally has her own stuff. Her older sister got impregnated by a just a thug, somebody who had no ambition, somebody who was just running game on her. And younger sister saw this shit and said, hey, I don't want to date black guys. And I had to get her mind right with that shit. I'm like, look, same thing that I'm breaking down to you. Like, what kind of guy did your sister choose? Why did she choose this guy? Because that's why I fought a lot of the black educated men, because it has to deal with that confidence, because a lot of these guys just don't have the confidence, and they won't stand up amongst a group of alpha males or amongst a group of thugs and say, this is what I am, I'm not going to change and be no thug ass nigga. You can go your way, I'll go my way, but I'm still going to stand my fucking ground. And that's what's going to have to happen when it comes down to the war cleaning up the black community. If there is a black community left after gentrification, that's exactly what's going to happen. A lot of these educated brothers are going to have to go down there to the hood and, tell the thugs just to move to the side, man. You know what I'm saying? Are you ready to do that? I am. I am. Big time. You see white society, they have a strong system when it comes down to supporting the NRA. Black men need to be a strong supporter of their own system that supports the right to carry firearms, especially the way we're getting treated when it comes down to police brutality. I don't ever see anybody speaking up about the right to bear arms, about our Second Amendment, but yet every rap video talks about how, I'm going to fucking shoot this person or kill this person if they ever violate me, but nobody ever talks about, legal protection. No one ever talks about the CTC. Conceal to carry. So, black women, I understand your frustrations. you know. But the target is like wow. But there's one girl on YouTube. She was speaking and like she was harsh on a lot of black men. The way she said it was, you know, this station is not for black men who have a closed mind. You know, this is a black woman station, and she mentioned that you know, a lot of black men they complain about white men and how their society is structured and how, you know, black men is oppressed by white men. You know, she talks about how you know, those type of men are cowards when they talk bad about white men and how, you know, the white man is not giving them a chance and how the white man builds all the guns. And she basically said, no, it's your fault because you should be the motherfuckers building the guns, you know. And that is fucking incredible. When she said that shit, I was like, wow, yes, yes, that's exactly what it's supposed to be like. That's exactly what it is. Now, if you had a ratchet female out here who knew that and was speaking on that level, because I mean that's far beyond a pair of Jordans. You know, that's far beyond a pair of stilettos. You know, that's basically she's the type of female that would get a brother to, you know, really, really understand what it is to be a man in this world. You know, just the competition that's already out there and how black men are falling behind when it comes down to just knowing how to maintain your own infrastructure. You know, so I give her credit. I forget her name, but I'm gonna find her and reach out to her again because that was, you know, it just hit the nail right on the coffin. You know, that's exactly the type of shit that I think about. But there's not too many of us. Just like there's not too many good black women. There's not too many good black men. And what I mean by good black women, I mean, you know, women who, if you're single, you know, you don't have any kids, you know, you know, basically at least mildly educated at the very least. You know, you have an occupation, and you also know the difference between masculinity and femininity, and you know how to incorporate the two when the time comes for it. You're supportive of your husband, and you know how to discern a real man from a fake man. And when it comes down to strong black men, I mean, men who know how to stay out of the judicial system. You know, they're not in and out of jail. They're not heavily on drugs. They don't support the rogue activities that are out here. You know, they are for change, and ultimately they understand the power of money, and they understand the power of keeping that money circulating within their own community. You know, so I love all you guys, man. I learned a lot of this stuff from Dr. Claude Anderson. I've been, you know, reading a lot of Dr. Claude Anderson's books for a while, and you know, a lot of it just comes from family instinct. So, you know, what enticed me to do it is just I started watching. I didn't believe that I could, that I could see other YouTube or listen to other YouTube videos of people just speaking, you know, on a similar tone that I'm speaking on right now. When I saw it, I said, "Wow, okay, yeah, there is a movement of that." Because I don't speak a lot about religion. I don't speak about reading the Bible and, you know, God will make things happen, make a way. You know, so I don't support Steve Harvey when he makes these accusations that any black man who doesn't believe in God is a bad person, so black women leave him alone. You know, and meanwhile we're dealing with a a comedian. I think I got it right the first time, but um, you know, I just think religion brings us back as a group of people. So, um, yeah, I don't know. I keep getting all off track, and I don't want to make this video too long. But yeah, man, you guys be cool. And this is Sam Sim, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.